So we know Myrtle Beach is one of the top destinations across the country where people are wanting to move all the time. And you're probably here wondering, where are the good developments to go? We're going to discuss it today. What's happening, guys? It's Jeremy Blanton with RE/MAX Southern Shores, and today we're back with another great video. Just going to talk today about some of the new construction developments that are here in the Myrtle Beach area and surrounding areas, and talk about some of the top subdivisions across the county that people are checking out and wanting to move to each and every day. You know, I shared last week in our video the article from Travel and Leisure magazine stating that South Carolina, once again, is one of the top destinations across the country for people who are looking to move. And we went through all the reasons why, and I figured, you know, I'm doing this and sharing about all the great reasons why everyone wants to move here. But the big question, while most people are showing up in my videos, is what are the good developments? Where are the good places for us to find a home? And over the last 15 to 18 months, the predominant most of what I've sold has been new construction and new home developments. Why is that? Well, as I've shared in many videos, there is a ton of incentives right now out there to buy a new construction home, and in these new developments where you're going to get a house that's brand new, new construction, new roof, new appliances, new flooring, everything's brand new, warranties, and all types of other incentives from the builders that someone who is selling a resale cannot always offer. And so that's why over the last probably 15 to 18 months, about 80% of what I have sold has been new construction property. So I figured today we would take some time and kind of break down some of the different sections of the beach and just kind of highlight a few different developments that are out there, subdivisions, kind of give you a little bit of the basics on each of these subdivisions to help you make a better understanding. Now, obviously, this isn't going to be all of the subdivisions here in Horry and Georgetown County because there's way too many to list. So if there's something specific you want to learn more about, my email is going to be down below. There's also going to be a website there for jeremyblanton.com where you can click and schedule a call, and we can talk about the very specifics of you making the move to the beach. It syncs right into my calendar, so you can go ahead, schedule a call, and we can discuss your move here to the area. Now that we kind of got that out of the way, let's jump into this and let's talk about some of these different areas and some of these awesome subdivisions. So I think we're going to start this video today by talking about the Socastee area. This is the zip code 29588 here in the Myrtle Beach area. It is considered a Myrtle Beach address, but is outside the city limits. In Socastee, you're going to have a lot of great options, but one of the big communities that stands out right now that people really seem to enjoy is Arcadia. It's located just north of 544 off of Forest Brook Road, and basically it's the section of land that runs between Forest Brook on this side and Highway 31 there. Arcadia is a great community that is being developed by several different builders in there. So in that development, you have Mungo Homes, Lennar, and Centex that are building properties in different sections of it. This is going to be a rather large community when it's said and done. I believe it's around 1,100 homes when it's all said and done that are going to be developed in there. But each of these builders are building different subdivisions inside Arcadia that are going to have a lot of great things for you. If you're looking for a development that's going to be close to Surfside Beach, this is one you definitely want to check out. It's on the west side of the water. What does that mean? That means that you're going to get a little bit more house for the money. It also means that insurance should be a little bit less and a lot of other different things. You're going to be in evacuation zone C and so many other things. This development is not a flood zone development, and each of these builders are building segments in there where they're building properties that are going to range in price from mid 300s up into the mid to high 500s. I recently sold a home in there that my clients bought. They are very ecstatic to have it. It was a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath home. It had a 3-car garage, about 2,000 square feet, and they were able to get this home for under $400,000. The best part, it was all on one level. It was brand new, and they were excited because the development section that they're in also has a community pool. There's going to be a little garden plot that they're going to be able to go and use if they want to. They're going to have privacy in the backyard because it was wooded back behind them. They were ecstatic to have this property brand new with all of the nice things that you'd want in it. Granite countertops, nice soft closed kitchens, cabinets, solid surface floors throughout the house. She had a little bit of a walking problem, so she didn't want to have carpet in the home that she would trip on. This house was all brand new LVP floor throughout it. Granite countertops, natural gas, everything that you'd want in the kitchen and more. So Arcadia is our first one on the list that we're going to talk about. The next one that I want to talk about is a little bit closer over to the beach in Socastee, and that is the Sayebrook area. Over there in Sayebrook, there is a lot of things that are going on. Right outside the development, there's a lot of commercial things that have been built over the last few years. There's a Super Target. There's an Ulta Beauty Supply. The big new thing that came to the area, a Trader Joe's. Yes, Myrtle Beach now has a Trader Joe's, guys, and it's right there in Sayebrook. Well, right behind where the commercial section is, there is some development that is being done of properties for sale. Saybrook's being developed by 3 different builders in there. And who are they? Well, it's Pulte Homes, Saucy Burbank, and Toll Brothers that are going to be building properties in this area. There's also going to be amenities, all of that stuff right there. Now, what makes this appealing is that you have all of that commercial stuff right outside the developments that you can easily access. You can also, from this area, get over to the Market Common area pretty quick. You can get down to Surfside Beach pretty quick as well. So this is an area that is growing pretty rapidly. If you're wondering where it's at on a map, it's basically just north of 544, and it's west of 17 bypass, and it's basically the section that goes from 544 up to the South Strand Memorial Hospital. Back in there is where it's all going to be developed, and that whole section is going to be called Sayebrook at the end of the day. Now, because this is a little bit closer to the beach, these properties are a little bit more expensive. Most of these are going to start in the low 4s and are going to go up into the mid to high 600s, but you're a little bit closer to the beach. You're a few miles in, which at the end of the day is going to help you, especially in the season time when you want to get down to the beach. The fact that you have 17 bypass and 544 right outside the development make it really easy to get all around the beach as well. So if you're thinking about Sayebrook as an option, I would definitely highly recommend planning a trip, coming down and checking it out. Now, one of the things that I would say, and I'm going to say this probably a couple times throughout the video, but if you're thinking about buying new construction, you still want an agent on your side. I'd love to represent you in purchasing a home in any of the developments we talk about, or any of the other ones that we may mention throughout this video, or ones we don't even mention. My main job that I do is sell real estate. I've been a realtor here in South Carolina now since 2001, so I'm 25 years into the business. I've helped hundreds of people do it, and I'd love to help you as well. If you need help, like I said before, go to jeremyblanton.com, click book a call, and let's discuss your move. All right, let's move on to another section of the beach. Okay, so now that we talked about the Socastee area, let's jump up to the northern end of the beach, and let's talk about Longs, Longs, and Loris, which is up on the northern end, and talk about some of the different developments that are going to be up in this area. Now, once again, guys, when you're figuring out what section of the beach you want to go to and where you want to live, you're going to have to make that decision kind of first before we really start falling in love with a house. If you're someone who's used to, when vacationing here at the beach, spending most of your time up in North Myrtle Beach and Little River, Cherry Grove, then you probably want to look at houses up on the northern end of the beach. If you're someone who spends a lot of your time down in Surfside, then you might want to check out some of those southern end communities that I'm talking about today. But let's talk about the northern end and a couple communities up here. The first one that I want to talk about is Waterside, which is being built by Meritage Homes. This is a great community where homes in here are going to start in the mid to high 3s and going to go up into the mid to high 500 range. These are going to be some great homes, everything from single family, all on one floor homes that are going to be maybe 13 to 1,500 square feet, up to the large 2,500, 3,500 square foot homes that they're going to have. One of the things that Meritage Homes really prides themselves is their build and construction and quality and insulation of the homes. They're one of the few builders here in Horry County that are actually going to spray foam insulation into the house, into the walls. They also spray foam the entire attic. So what this means is that your attic and enclosed area is all encapsulated basically, and it's going to be basically the same temperature throughout. That means if you put stuff in your attic, you don't have to worry about it melting from the extreme heat in the middle of summer. This also means that your HVAC system, which most homes here in Horry County have it up in the attic, is not going to have to work overtime throughout the summer months to try to keep the house cold, because it's a lot more of a temperate climate up there. But Meritage Homes is a great builder that's building there. Some other things, they're going to have a community pool that's in that development with it. This development is considered in Longs, South Carolina. It's right off of Water Tower Road. And this is a great community because you're only a few minutes over to Barefoot Landing. You can get up to the northern end of the beach on 31 in probably 10 minutes from there. You can be down to the heart of Myrtle Beach in 15 minutes the other way. And if you really, really want to go all the way south, you can jump on 31 and probably be there in about a 35 to 45-minute drive. So this is a great community. Once again, you're west of the waterway, which means you're not in all the chaos of tourism that you'd be during the season. You have all of that stuff away from you, but if you want to get to it, you can access it pretty quick and easy. So Waterside is definitely a great one to check out up in Long's area. The next community, which is just a little bit north of Waterside, is going to be called Forestwood. That's being built by Pulte Homes. And this is a great community where Pulte is building all of their popular floor plans, the ones that you'd find in like the Del Webb communities without the Del Webb price tag. Now, you're not going to get all of the amenities and you're not going to have all the HOA perks that you'd have in a Del Webb community, but also your pricing is going to be significantly less. Homes in this area are going to be from the 1,700 square foot range up to over 3,000 square feet. The price point's going to be from the mid threes to up over 500, depending on obviously what all you add into the house. Now, one of the things that this development will not have is a community pool. So if that's something that's really important to you, obviously this one won't work. But it is going to have a few other amenities there, potentially a pickleball court, a playground, that kind of stuff in the development. But it's not going to have the big amenity most people want of that community pool. But this is a great option. Once again, you're not in the middle of all the tourism stuff, so you get a much better price. You're about 15 minutes over to the beach from this development. You're 5 minutes over to Barefoot Landing, and there's just so many things that you can access right by here. Forestwood by Pulte Homes is definitely a great option you might want to check out, especially if you like the design and the look and feel of the Del Webb communities. This is one for sure where you can save a ton of money. All right, so now that we finished talking about the northern end of the beach, let's head out west. And as I've shared many, many times in my videos, when you go west, you save money. And so the first area that I want to talk about is Auberon Woods. This is a development that's being built by D.R. Horton. It's going to be around 1,100 to 1,200 homes when they finish the community. It's going to have 2 community pools. It's going to have all kinds of amenities that are going to be in there. But because this is a Conway address, these properties are going to be significantly less than the same D.R. Horton home that they build in, say, Waterbridge, or that they built in the parks or the farm. They use the same floor plans, same layout properties, but because it's on Conway dirt instead of Myrtle Beach dirt, the prices are going to be less. This development is located right off of Highway 90, kind of sits tucked in, but what's nice about it is that it's about a mile to a mile and a half away from the interchange of 22, which you can get on. And once you're on 22, you can be all the way over to North Myrtle Beach in about a 10-minute drive. Or you can get over to 31 in about 3 minutes from here, and then you have access to the entire Grand Strand from this development. I've sold a few homes in here. One of my clients bought a home here, and he works down in Myrtle Beach near the airport. And he said it's one of the easiest 20-minute drives he's ever had to get to work. He comes out of his development, he takes a right, gets on 22, goes 3 minutes down, turns right onto 31, heads down for 15 minutes, and he's off right there on 501, close to work. So let's talk about price point a minute. In here, you can expect homes to be anything from, the 1,300 square foot up to well over 3,000 square feet. But the big difference is your price point's going to become less. Some of those smaller homes are going to be right around 300 or a little bit over. And even the big houses are going to be, maybe 375 to 425 for the most expensive homes. That's what makes this area so great. You take that exact same home and go over to Waterbridge, and your price point's going to go probably $50,000 to $75,000. So one of the things I always tell people when you're discussing areas and locations and all that is Do you want to save $50,000 to $70,000, or do you want to save 15 to 20 minutes each day when driving? Once you kind of make that decision, it's going to help make it real easy to decide what area you want to be in. But definitely, Auburn Woods is one I would highly recommend checking out. I've sold several homes in this development since it started, and I can tell you, my clients that have bought in here are absolutely loving their location and loving the development that they're in. Okay, so now that we went out west with our last development, let's get back to Myrtle Beach. Let's get down to the ocean, and let's get to the areas where probably most of you are thinking about moving when you come to the area. First, let's go down close to the Market Common area, or the Back Gate Air Force Base as it used to be here in Myrtle Beach. Did you know Myrtle Beach had an Air Force Base at one time? We did, but back in the late 80s, it was shut down, and then in the early 2000s, it was developed into housing and commercial. So Market Common is a very popular area for people to live, to visit when they're on vacation here in Myrtle Beach. And one of the great communities that's just about 5 minutes outside of Market Common is called Crescent Cove. It sits right off of Socastee Highway. It's being built by Pulte Homes. In this development, you have homes that are going to be in that 15 to 1600 square foot home up to the 3,000 plus square foot properties. This is also being built by Pulte, the same floor plans, a lot of them, as what they're putting into their Del Webb communities. Kind of like Forest Wood that I talked about a little while ago. The big difference is that this is closer to the beach, so your price point goes up a little bit. Also, there's going to be a little bit more amenities in this development. And one of the big amenities of this development is that it's going to have access to the Intracoastal Waterway. So people who love boating want to have the access to the water. This development has become a huge appeal. Single family homes in here are going to be, like I said, 1,600 square foot up to 3,000 square feet. I've sold several homes in this development. And your price point here is probably starting around like the $350 range and going up to probably about $550 nowadays in this development. And a lot of it depends on what all you add into the property. Pulte has some that are available spec homes. And then if you go in though and build one and start adding all of the additions on, you can take the price up pretty quickly. But like I said, this development has so much that's close by that people really like it. Just like how I talked about a little while ago about Sayebrook and the commercialization there that's been building up. This development, Crescent Cove, you can get from there down to the new Trader Joe's. You can get down to the Surfside Walmart and the Surfside Super Target, all within probably about a 10-minute drive. From here, you can be over into Market Common in about a 5 to 10-minute drive as well. If you want to go over to Myrtle Beach State Park and go to the beach, you can travel through Market Common and be there in about a 10 to 15-minute drive. This is a great community with a lot of great options that are going to be right there inside Myrtle Beach. But being that it's on the west side of 17, it's a little bit outside city limits, so that brings your pricing down a little bit in this development as well. So definitely check out Crescent Cove too. All right, guys, so we're getting down to the end here, and we're going to now talk about one of my favorite sections of the beach called Carolina Forest. Now, if you go and try to look Carolina Forest up on a map, you're not going to really find much for it, but I can tell you it's the zip code 29579. This is the section of a Myrtle Beach address that is west of the waterway. You're outside city limits, so you get all the benefits of not having to pay all those additional in-city taxes, but you get to still have that Myrtle Beach address. And two of the developments in Carolina Forest that I want to highlight today. The first one is one of my favorites, and then after this, we're going to talk about one that's brand new, guys. This one has not even a single house in it. I just saw the sign go up the other day, so you're getting late breaking news. But let's first talk about one of my favorite ones here, Traditions, that's being built by Chesapeake Homes. These are going to be homes that are going to be everything from the 1,400 square foot single family all on one floor home to rather large 3,000 square foot properties. Your price point on these are going to be from starting in the mid threes up into the fives and sixes. I have some clients right now building a home in this development, and they're basically maxing it out, putting everything in it, and their home's still going to be probably in that 500 to 600 range when it's all said and done. It has a great community center that's already being built. There's a dog park there. There's going to be playgrounds, all kinds of things to do in the amenities. And what's great about this community is that you're right off of River Oaks Drive, and you're just a minute or two south of Carolina Forest Boulevard. So from this, you have ease of access to get over to Myrtle Beach if you want to, jump on Highway 31, get all the way to the northern end of the beach or all the way to the southern end of the beach pretty quick and easy. You also can take River Oaks Drive and be down to the airport in about a 10-minute drive. So there's a lot of great things that are going to be right near you. The greatest part about this is that during the peak of season for tourists in the area, there's so many things right in the area nearby that you don't have to go over into Myrtle Beach and into the tourism section and have to deal with all of that additional traffic and just craziness of everybody being in town. So if I want to go to eat, there's restaurants, there's grocery shopping, there's veterinary, there's hospitals, there's everything we need all right here in the Carolina Forest area with never once having to go over into the Myrtle Beach area. So I would definitely think about checking out Traditions by Chesapeake. It's a great community. I have several people who've bought in this community now, and they all absolutely love its location, love the house that they have, and love the product that Chesapeake put out. All right, now it's time to talk about that one that was brand new. So guys, drum roll. Well, I can't really do it. I'll make a lot of noise in the office and people look at me. But drum roll, the big development that just is getting out of ground right now is called North Cove, down off of River Oaks Drive. Part of the old River Oaks golf course has been converted into this community and is about to start having homes come out of the ground. This is being built by Mungo Homes, and from doing a little bit of research online, here's what I've been able to find out. It's a new home community in Carolina Forest by Mungo Homes called North Cove. It's going to have around 220 single-family homes. Mungo's going to be the primary builder in there, and it looks like from what it says and what I could find researching online, houses are going to be from about 1,600 square feet up to about 2,800 square foot homes with 3-bedroom to 5-bedroom houses. There's not really a whole bunch of information on pricing yet that's out there, but this is going to be an awesome community. It does look like, from what I could find online, there is going to be a community pool with cabana, and it has all of the great location things of Carolina Forest right nearby. So if you guys want to learn more about this development, let me know. I can get you in touch with the builders who are going to be building this and get you on the ground as one of the first homes in this development. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video where we talk about some different communities that are coming out of ground here along the Grand Strand. If you have questions, like I said, about any of these communities, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is going to be down below, or you can simply just go over to jeremyblanton.com, book a call, and we can discuss your move to the beach. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, get that bell on, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.